Hallo, 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 hallo. Herzlich willkommen. Welcome to my stream. Today we are going to have a look-see, another look-see, I might say, at the ECS Galaxy sample project, which is this one here. So I've made a video on my channel where I actually have like a first look at the sample. And in that video, I mentioned that I would like to maybe turn this into an actual game. Like right now, it's a simulation, right? And yeah, I'm curious about what it would actually take to make like a little game out of that. That might actually be fun to play, not only fun to watch, right? So I've already done a little bit, just a tiny bit of modifications to the code that might help to facilitate that. But mostly it's still going to be about actually learning how the project works so that we can modify it, right? So let me show you real quick. When I start the simulation, what I actually changed. There are two things that I changed that should be very obvious once we start. So it actually is only one thing, but I had to do two things to actually make it work. First thing I did was changing how the planets spawn by limiting them to more like of a disk or maybe a cylinder kind of area instead of like a whole sphere. And the reason for that is just to increase readability of the things that are going on. Having them all go everywhere in 3D just was too confusing, I think. Just didn't make any sense. You couldn't really make much sense of what was happening. Right now, we have this setup where they're basically like spawned on a disk and then they're slightly offset height-wise, so there is still some three-dimensionality involved, right? And they're still like randomly spawned, so the maps are all randomized more or less. So it still looks kind of crazy, but when you pull your camera down out, you can actually like get a real good overview of what's happening here. Now, as you can see, there are some really big problems here, right? Right now, the balance of the maps is just all over the place, and you can already see that there might be some better spawn situations going on which allow some factions to grow better, but right now there's no way really to tell. So we probably need some sort of a user interface to show how big each faction is, like how many units each faction has. Right now I would say that probably hard to tell, but green or red. Now green is area-wise, it looks a little smaller, but it also looks a lot denser. So green might actually have the upper hand here. So the second thing I had to change was, of course, the spawning of the starting positions, because they were also randomly, not really randomly, but they were like evenly distributed inside a sphere, right? So that they all had like the same distance from each other. Which of course, when you now have only like a plane of planets, wouldn't make any sense. So I had to change the spawning of the starting positions to be like in the circle, evenly spaced out, which worked quite nicely after I figured out the math that was involved, because I'm not really good at math and I had to like try around a bit. So yeah, that's where we're at. And I'm just curious. Let's just see what happens here. Maybe we can speed this up a bit. So then, of course, let's talk about the stuff that we could, that we need to do for this to actually be a game. So number one of the most important things for a game like this is to actually have a win condition, right? You need to have someone winning and someone losing, right? So that's as we will see very soon, is not in it, because yellow is going to be out of the game really soon, and nothing really happens. Also, when everything is dead, they just randomly roam around the map and do nothing about it. Yeah, that's number one, having a win condition. Then we need to have some sort of interactivity, right? We need to be able to control what actually is going to happen. We probably want to have like a little bit more clarity when it comes to the visuals. So even though this kind of looks pretty cool right now, it's just too much. It's just, you can't really tell what the heck is going on. The only thing you can really tell is that there are these big spaceships, right? These are quite visually distinct, even though they have the same color. So that needs to change. We need to facilitate better gameplay. We need to reduce the amount of stuff that is going on quite a bit, I feel like. And then we also need to like maybe make it look a little bit more interesting by not only having like simple one-colored objects, right? Have maybe like some more pretty looking spaceship. I already have like an asset in mind that we could use for that, like the Sinti Store space asset. Could be very nice for this. Actually looks like blue is getting the upper hand here, which I wouldn't have thought from the beginning. Green is almost dead. So that's another one. Then we of course need to control stuff, and in order to control stuff we need to be able to actually tell shit what's going on. So we need to also make the map a little bit more interesting, right? We need to add like objectives and resources and stuff, and we need to actually be able to control which resources we are going to farm, right? So that's all the stuff that I am currently thinking that we could add. And now we have a winner, which is blue, right? Which is pretty cool. Okay, so what I'm still thinking about what we should probably do next. So actually I think we should probably not do anything of the stuff I just talked about it, and just get like a little bit of a more deeper understanding of how shit actually works in this game. So there is and maybe we could maybe add is like some UI that gives us some information, like about how many ships there are, what kind of ships there are. I assume so that's the thing that this game doesn't really tell you, but let's restart simulation. There are these moons around the planets, right? And they are getting converted into like some sort of space station or like a turret, and there also seems to be some sort of resource management in the game, because there are these trader units, but you don't really see how many resources there are and what kind of resources and what they're used for and stuff. So as you can already tell, this kind of game needs a lot of user interface, right? It needs UI. And that's probably some of the first things that we actually need to tackle, like add some UI. And yeah, then we have to see what we can actually do to make this game more interactive. I feel like sort of core to this whole experience here is actually the fact that a lot of stuff is just happening on its own, right? And I feel like that maybe there is a way we can preserve a lot of that, so that we as a player only make like very high level decisions, but we don't really control units and stuff like that, like you would, for example, in Homeworld or stuff like that, right? I feel like that could be a possibility to do this. So basically what we do is like maybe we decide what kind of units we want to build, where we are going to attack, but not like so you just draw in some commands or stuff like that, right? And then your units will automatically go there, like they're like in line war, for instance. Yeah, that's stuff that could happen. Then of course, when you look at this this game screams for like maybe multiplayer, right? So, but that's something I'm probably not going to do. At least not now, because making multiplayer for a game with so many entities, you would have to do some really advanced stuff with like deterministic rollback and shit like that, right? Which I don't think like there is like a pre-built solution right now available to do that works with ECS. You could probably roll your own. But yeah, I wouldn't know how to do that. That seems to be very, very complicated. But yeah, maybe in the future, if this game that this turns into would actually be like fun to play, maybe that's something worth pursuing in the future. So yeah, curious about that. Right now, as of like inspiration for what the gameplay could be like, I'm thinking about games like They Are Billions, a Creeper World, where you actually are more focused on defending from a lot of stuff. Like I mean, not actually in Creeper World. It's actually the goal to beat like an overwhelming force, right? So you have to the whole map is full of creeper, and then you want to clear it, right? And They Are Billions is a little bit different. They actually defend your base, right? While they attack you, and I feel like that would be very fun. Like that you maybe don't have as much stuff as your enemy, and your enemy has much more, but you have like very strong stuff, right? And you need to take care of resource management. You need to systematically, right, clear the map and conquest new resources and use those resources to build cooler new stuff. Maybe have some research and things like that, and then you slowly but surely yeah, clear the map and win the game. And this looks so cool. Let's see what's actually going on here. Yellow seems to be pretty dead. There's like one random red planet there. Cool. Also, I was thinking of maybe changing it a bit to not have like planets. Maybe more like space stations or something like that would make a lot more sense, because there's just so many planets here that probably wouldn't happen. Like you would have like solar systems and shit like that. Maybe we could have like solar systems, right? Like multiple solar systems. But also would be cool if they actually moved, right? Like planets and stuff would do. Yeah, a lot of interesting stuff. Figuring out how the AI works and shit, and how we can take control of it, that's probably going to be like the first a big challenge. But yeah, I'm very chuffed about the prospect of turning this into a real game. I mean, look at how cool this looks. This is so cool. I'm really excited. What's this guy doing? Oh, there's a moon, and I'm going to do something with it. I'm staring at it, and now it turns into a ship production thingy, and now it should start spitting out spaceships. Maybe, maybe not. Oh, look at all these workers now coming. Oh, we're actually being attacked, and now they destroyed the little spaceship thingy. So, yeah. This is kind of cool. I really like I really like this. Right now, it's the movement and stuff feels a little bit undynamic, because everything is moving at the same speed. It feels like. But yeah, that's all the stuff we can have a look at later. So let's quit this. I'm going to have to run to the bathroom real quick, and then we can get started. All right, there you are. Make sure to say hello when you're in chat. Okay, so the first thing I feel like we might have. The music just sounded like my doorbell. That was confusing for a second there. So let's have a look at how the user interface works. I think that's something we might want to yeah, we might to be adding stuff to first, like some information about the units and shit like that. So yeah, let's have a look. See, we have this UI. UI toolkit, UI builder. Open this. Maybe have a look at the UI screens. Planet stats. Okay, there seems to be something I've been missing. What's planet stats? Hello? What the fuck? Okay. What's planet stats supposed to mean? Oh, look at this. Okay, so we already seem to be having look at the differences in like resource generation from red. Like, this is interesting. Red has so much more resources, but so much less ships than green, for instance. Okay, green seems to be catching up now, actually pulling ahead. Interesting. Interesting. So yeah, we can now clearly see that green has like a big advantage. This would have been better in like a table view. Don't really. Yeah, so we actually don't need to add that. That is already pretty good. So, but however, let's try to figure out how this stuff works. So we have this planet stats screen. Okay, let's try to figure out how this screen works. So let's go to our UI manager C#. So the UI manager manages the UI screens view base class using game events paired to each view screen. A stack maintains a history of previously shown screens, so the UI manager can go back until it reaches the default UI screen, the home screen. To add a new UI screen on the UI manager management, define a new UI screen field. Create a new instance of that screen in initialize. Register your UI screen. Subscribe, unsubscribe from appropriate UI event to show the screen. Okay, so subscribe to events. Split screen. Screens, planets, that screen. Stats container, is that what it's called? Okay, let's try to figure out what this actually does and how it relates to this screen. So we have the stat screen, we have the home screen shown, screen closed, settings shown, hard screen disable, UI. So these are like all different sort of events. These seem to be seller. I think I accidentally clicked there. Hide screens, get screen, show. Update planet selection. Update stats. Sure. Stats data visible. UI events. Is this like a global? Yeah. This is just like a global class that contains different UI events. So let's find out when this is actually called. Planet selection system. Let's have a look. We have an ice system. Okay, require for update. Oh, so we can click. Ah. Okay, look at these. Nice. So we have like the planet. It has like it's being converted right now. Oh, I'm not sure what conversion means. Let's have a look here. Okay, this now moves down. The conversion stat. And once it's 0, we actually convert it to the team 2, and now it generates resources. I see, and now we have more planets here. It's so interesting. Like this one has more planets than this one, but so much less ships right now. Has more resources. This is very interesting. So we already basically have all we really need for now to figure out what's actually going on. So have a look at this game overview here. Right now I'm feeling red. Yeah, red looks so much stronger. Yellow always seems to be like super weak. I wonder why that is. Because it should just like everything should be random, right? Like at least the spawning of the planets and stuff, which is like the only thing I could think of that would actually affect gameplay right now is this the layout of the planets. I mean, look at this. He's just six planets under their control. Interesting, very interesting. So let's have a look at the controls here. At the system itself. So this is just a system. So let's see what happens. Entity temp entity main camera is camera main. So basically screen point to gray. Oh, it actually iterates over each planet and then checks if the bounding boxes overlap. So it doesn't really do like a ray cast. Interesting. I mean, I guess this is fine because there aren't that many planets. Like a couple dozen or so. So this isn't super expensive, especially if you do it like once when he clicks, right? So it's fine. So how does this actually work? So we make a query planet transform, which is just a local transform, and then we have like the entity. Okay, then new bounds basically means okay, this is just a simple struct that Unity provides. I haven't actually really used this, to be honest. So you just put in the position and the scale. And so does this assume that a planet is just a 1-unit sphere? Let's actually have a look. The prefabs planet. So it seems to be the case. I can't really tell. But it would make a lot of sense to just make it like a unit sphere. So this should basically mean if we click into an empty. So if we do this and do this, right? That's what this does. I mean, like actually click on the moon. Let's have a real quick look. This is interesting because the bounding box of this also intersects here, right? Because the bounding box is like a cube around a sphere. Interesting. Which is like, it's not a bad thing. I don't think if like clicking like slightly next to something actually helps to select it, because you know we're not all like Ozu pros with like super clicking precision. So yeah. And then what it actually does, so this is an interesting approach. So you just have like a global class, just a static class with events, and then you just invoke the event on that, which is like it's fine. It's not the most elegant way to do stuff, and it's not like the most flexible way to do stuff, because you have to define each event basically, but it's not that big of an issue. So this is now being set to, this has like a visible flag, target position, not sure why it needs this. Then we have like the Seems like the current like stats data, but I would assume that the UI actually updates itself. So let's have a look at this one. So now we can understand what's going on here. This is just, you know, getting all the visual elements that are inside the UI document, and then we have the update planet selection event. Okay, so let's have a look what's actually happening here. Is this getting called? I'm not sure I quite understand. This is our UI screen, but there is no like polling or something where they read the data from the currently selected planet. So does this, let's have a look. So we store the entity inside a property inside the system. I always was under the impression that this is not considered a good practice. I always thought that you should store your data on entities. I've never understood that, to be honest. I think that's totally fine. So this is being... Okay, we only set it if we click something, and then each frame we invoke this event. I'm not sure that's how I would have done it. I feel like, okay, this is more of a philosophical argument than actual argument, but I feel like events should be like very distinct, like bound to like an actual actually thing happening, right? So for example, this is called update planet selection. So what I would assume this event does is that it only fires when you select something. So you click the thing, then the event fires one time, and then that's it. But what's happening here is pretty much it fires this event every frame when an object is selected. Now I'm not sure about it, but I feel like this might also be like a little bit of an expensive thing to do, like invoking events, stuff like that. I don't know what I would have done, and that's how I usually approach UI stuff. Is that I would have just like you can query a mono behavior in the system, right? So there's probably only going to be one planet stat screen behavior. All right, this is oh, it's not a mono behavior. Okay. Okay, I guess that would make it a little bit harder. I would probably have made it a mono behavior, to be honest. Like have like a mono behavior for each UI screen. I think is a totally fine thing to do. And then I would have just like written a system that each frame just updates the values. Like maybe calls this update stats directly without using the event. I'm not sure that I really like that approach of like calling an event to update the data every frame. Then we have okay, that's interesting. Update panel position, which is going to I would assume just update it on the screen Runtime, pane utils, camera transform, world panel. What's this? Is this like a Unity runtime pane utils? I've never heard about that. It's in UI elements. Okay. Cool. Learned a new thing, so you can use this to basically take a transform world position, I mean. I'm not sure what this camera offset does, to be honest. So this seems to be checking if our camera is actually looking at the thing we are looking at. And if not, I think this is the not case, we just move the object off screen. Even though if you have like a big enough screen resolution, this might not be enough, I'm not sure. Not sure how the coordinates in UI space actually work in that regard. And otherwise we just update it, right? And that's why we set the transform in the sets data here. The position, I mean, target position. Yeah, interesting approach. Like, okay, let's think about this. What this does. So this just invokes. It doesn't. No, this doesn't invoke anything. This just checks if we are actually clicking on something, and if it does, then we set the entity, right? And if we don't hit anything, then the entity is null, and then if the entity is null, we say okay, update. Like this I get, right? You have this happens once, right? Actually it doesn't. So this is where it's kind of bothering me. So we now, when we don't have a selection, let's try to verify this. Debug log. This is called every frame. I feel like at least that if I understood it correctly. If not, then I might be wrong. Then I'm no, I'm not. I don't might be wrong. I am wrong. So let's have a look see. But what I expect now is that every frame. Okay, let's not maximize. Yeah. And that's just stupid. Like there's no reason to call this every frame. So let's try and fix that. Right? So what I think right now, if we move this, we move this straight up in here, and then we do something like this. So this now should only be called after we clicked. This is still getting called every frame. So this is I still don't like it, but you know, it will only get called every frame if we actually selected something. So that's already like a little bit less obnoxious. So let's see if we actually if that's actually working. So right now we are not getting any messages. Now I click this. And now we get this gets called out of favor. Now if we click somewhere else, it should, yeah. Okay, man, it's good to fix a bug. So let's remove this message so we can actually selection update, so we can actually verify that we are not calling this every frame. But this shows you even at Unity, it's only humans working there, right? They sometimes make weird decisions. And to be honest, this is not going to be like breaking your game or something or making it super slow, but it's avoidable, right? You don't need to do it, so don't do it. Every bit counts. So click, 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 click. Okay, this oh, I see. We have why does it call it so often? Get mouse button. Get mouse button down is, I feel like, the better way to do it. You don't want to like so what I think what happened is you press like the mouse button, right? It takes a little bit of time. And if you do like get mouse button, it triggers every time during the period when your mouse button is down, right? And I think that the get mouse button down only triggers like the first time, but I'm not actually sure. But that's actually what we want. Where we only care about, okay, it's been clicked now. Let's see. At least yeah. And now we actually have what we want. No wastage, which is nice. Sorry, totally tangential, but this stuff, that's the like the stuff that I hope happens when we explore the source code thing. We find cool stuff, but we also find weird stuff, and we are able to fix weird stuff. So it means we actually understand what's happening. But this kind of stuff makes me happy for some reason. I'm not sure. Yeah. Now this as I mentioned, this would require a little bit of a rewrite. And I don't think that I'm going to bother with it now, because this only happens during the time when we actually have a planet selected. So is it the best way to do it? I don't feel like that going through an event is actually like, this should be like, you should have like a reference to the planet script, like the planet stat screen, right? My screen, and then you should be like my screen update, and then you just invoke it directly, and you could just store this this reference somewhere so that it's accessible from like a system, and then you wouldn't have to go through an event, because like, especially these are Unity events. I'm not sure. These are standard C# delegates. I'm not sure what the type action. Oh yeah, it's just a delegate probably just a generic wrapper for like a delegate or something. So yeah, it's at least it's not a Unity event, because Unity events are, I feel like, as far as I remember, they are even more expensive. So yeah, I'm not sure, because all this does is like you call something and then that something calls another something, right? And doing it with events can be very useful when you want to communicate to like multiple things, right? Then there's like multiple things listening to this, but I don't think actually that's happening here. Yeah, we only have this stats screen that listens to this, so and like maybe the idea is to future proof it a bit. Maybe. But I'm not quite sold on it. Like this event does more than just update the planet selection. It actually like up for the current planet, right? It also pulls the data or pushes the data, which I don't know. Yeah. I would have to sleep on that to like I wouldn't have done it if I would have initially like this, like toggle pause, right? This is probably going to be used in multiple, I would assume, maybe. Let's have a look. I would assume that's, so we have like UI manager, and then we have like input presenter, home screen, shooters. I mean, I would have actually expected a little bit more, but you know, that is what it is. Let's see what it actually does. I would assume it just sets the that's confusing, because it's called toggle pause, but it actually doesn't pause the game, right? It actually does not pause the game. This is just opening the menu. Home screen, HUD screen, home screen, HUD screen. So basically this is an interesting little bit that I find. So this is basically like how the switching between different UI works. So if we go here, we simulate, then we press escape. Now we are back in the home screen, which is the same as like the menu, right? And then we are going back to the HUD screen, which is like our gameplay HUD situation, which basically only is this. I don't really. Can you see it like up there in the top right corner, the little dot, which can't really. Oh, you can, but it doesn't really do anything if you click on it. And so okay, so much for like the basics of how the HUD works, I feel like, or the user interface. Which is cool. Let's see, what else could we have a look at? The settings screen. The settings screen I find very interesting. Okay, so basically, yeah. So this is the situation where the sample contents actually are bad examples, at least for my taste. So what's going on here? We have these ship settings, right? So let me show you the ship settings. We can go into settings, right? Then here, then we have for each different ship type, we have our settings, right? And as far as I can tell, I mean, I don't know, they have like specific settings that are dependent on what kind of ship they are, right? So we have the worker, which has like these general settings like construction. Oh no, construction is also a worker thing, but max speed, acceleration, steering, sharpness. And then the fighter also has like the general movement, max speed, acceleration, steering, sharpness. And then we have like the construction. Okay, the construction seems to be general as well. It's about like how much they cost, I feel like. It seems like. And then we have like the fighter specific settings, right? And then we have all these trader specific settings for the traders down here. So, and the way they did this is it seems like they have basically 4 different kind of data structures. So we have the ship settings data. We have the fighter settings data and worker settings data and trader settings data. So this for like a sample project is fine because there's scalability isn't really a thing, right? So you only have like these 4 types of things that exist, and to be honest, this might be enough for your game, but I feel like it's not super flexible, right? So what I really like is I like to be flexible about my my data that I work on. So I feel like having these concepts like burned into your UI code makes it hard to add like new ship types, right? So let's say you have like I don't know, you have a carrier ship, right? Carrier ship is a specific special type of ship that actually can produce its own little spaceship, like a Protoss carrier in StarCraft. This you couldn't simply just define a carrier ship through data. You would actually have to modify your UI code to be able to do this. So you would probably want something that's a little bit more generic in that case. But I get why they don't do it here, because stuff like that is really hard to do properly. It can get very messy. So you always have to weigh like benefits and costs and stuff like that. So yeah, that's very interesting. So let's have a look how this actually works. So we have this very established pattern here. So we have our set. Now we have all of these, right? This is so much. So they actually have like different templates for each of the UIs. So which is nice. And then they probably okay. This is where they do the ship setting stuff. So this is where it gets interesting. So ship collection buffer. So this is, I would assume, where the config entity is where the config for the ships gets baked to. I would assume. You can just verify that by looking at all of these different settings, acceleration structures, config authoring, general. We have prefab. So let's have a look at the actual baker. A lot of stuff is being added here. And there we have the ship collection. So we had like a prefab, and then we have the authoring ship collection baked to blob. So this is like, okay, so I would assume this is one of these scriptable objects. So let's have a look. If we look at our config over here, let's go to authoring, and now we have our ships here. How does this actually... Okay, there we go. Now these are just prefabs, but what about the ship data? Is this... Okay, we have our worker ship, and then we probably have our ship data on the prefab itself. Ah, okay. Interesting. Interesting choice. It also gets baked. So it's sort of duplicated. We have a ship prefab which has this data, and then we have our ship collection over here which also has the ship data. So it gets sort of duplicated. Which isn't that big of an issue because it's baked to a blob. This does... Okay, this also bakes to a blob. So how does this actually work with, like, when we bake the same thing to a blob? What does the hash do? Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not really sure how this is actually then unique in memory or something like that. But it doesn't really matter that much. So we have this ship collection, and then we have our settings screen where we iterate over all of these. I mean, I would assume... Okay, that's actually interesting. It actually makes sense that they duplicated, because now the prefab has the same reference to the ship data than the collection does. And then if we change it in here, we can then manipulate the data on our prefab. Now what I'm curious about is, because I always thought that blob data is read-only. So let's see how this works. This is super interesting to me. Is get buffer to native array. Okay, can we just iterate over the buffer itself? Doesn't matter. So let's have a look. This is not super interesting. Now this is ship settings data. New ship settings data, ship settings, ship collection element, ship name. Let's see what's actually going on here. Okay, so this somehow is also... This is ship settings data, but it's also a visual element. Some sort connected to a visual element. Okay, apply changes. This sounds interesting to me. Game utilities, try get singleton NT. Okay, what does this actually do? Let's have a look. Complete all track jobs. I'm not sure why we need to do this. I've actually never called this, but we are in a model behavior, right? We are not in a system, so or we are called from a model behavior. So this is all happening outside the system. So this might be it. So to make sure that everything is updated. So what does this do? Entity manager has buffer ship collection. Get buffer ship collection. Then this is okay. So this is the crucial part. We take our blob asset reference value and we can actually manipulate it. I did not know that. I always thought they were read only. Interesting. Okay, so this is how we manipulate the ship data for a given config. And now I am curious about how this data is actually used. I would assume it's just very simple, but let's maybe go to our ship system. That's probably where this kind of stuff lives in. Let's see. Navigation, fighter AI. Where do we actually move our do anything? Let's execute planet capture job. Let's have a look at this, for example. Worker data. I mean, we just basically need to look for a ship data. So what do we have here? We have the ship set VFX data job. And yeah, we just get a ship. So ship is an I component data and it has the reference to the ship data. So that's interesting. That's super interesting. That's cool. So you can change it and it actually does not only affect the stuff that you spawn next, because I would assume when spawning a ship, it actually takes the config, right? And then, oh no, it doesn't, because it uses the prefab, right? And since the prefab reference is the same blob reference, it actually updates the. It actually has the right data from the get-go. And also, when the system is run that does anything for the ship, like for example move the ship, let's see if we can actually find like a movement system or something like that. No, that's, I would assume it to be here, but I haven't really seen anything. That's fighter AI. Ship navigation. See what this does. Handle movement velocity towards target. Oh, there you go. Okay. Yeah, that's basically how it works, right? So we have our acceleration and then we take the ship data acceleration, and if the ship data changes, then it will just work. This is pretty cool. Now, this might seem very obvious for some of you guys, but I've never really thought about using it that way, like block assets. Something I need to take a mental note of. Definitely. Okay, I'm thinking about what we could actually maybe try to implement something into this. Okay, so what I was thinking is maybe we should have like, so we already have this UI, right? So this under advanced, if you run the game actually. Now what we need now, so what we need for it to be able to actually make this into a playing game is now that we man, language is hard. What we need to be able to play the game is like the concept of a player, right? So I don't think there's like the concept of a player in this right now, because there's just 4 teams, right, or X amount of teams, and the player isn't really a thing because there's no one playing the game, right? So maybe a good way to start is by introducing the concept of like the player, so that we can distinguish between the player controlled team and the teams that are not controlled by the player. So yeah, maybe we add that, and then we could maybe add like the UI element for the player, so that it always shows these stats that you can see on the side here for the current player. I think that would be maybe a good start. Something that I actually wanted to have a look at is how the resource stuff actually works. Maybe we can explore that. So let's have a look how this is going. Yellow again seems to be the underdog. I'm just curious why this is. Like green seems to be pulling ahead pretty constantly. This is obviously not scientific at all, but I feel like every time I run this, green seems to be winning and yellow seems to be the first to get destroyed. I wonder why this is, because I actually like yellow as a color. Man, this is so mesmerizing. Looks beautiful. Let's have a look. 8K. Okay, yellow seems to be actually pulling ahead of blue now. Maybe I'm going to eat my words. But it doesn't really seem to matter because neither of them is going to win. But blue is losing faster, even though blue has more planets. Now blue is pulling... it's so hard to actually predict this, because even though blue has way more planets than yellow, the ship count is much lower. But now red seems to be going for the kill on yellow over there and slowly eating away on its resources. The fun thing is that green only has 2 planets more than blue has, but still is destroying blue so hard. Like in army count, right, in ship count. Oh, there was a big explosion. One of the big ships got destroyed. Okay, we now seem to be seeing red's dominance coming to fruition. So yeah, it seems to be random, but for some reason there seems to be also a big bias towards yellow getting the getting the shaft, whatever that's supposed to mean. Getting the bad side of the deal most of the time. But they actually overtook blue and overtook green for some reason. Interesting, because there's more surface area, it feels like, between green and red, which is also like position and stuff is also very important. The more ships can interact with each other, the better. I love this. This is beautiful. Very pretty. Let's see how this ends. Also, these explosion effects, while very simple, they look kind of nice. I just realized that the lasers actually have the same color than the team has, which is an interesting touch. I mean, readability wise, of course, these team colors work really great. You can totally see which team has the upper hand here, but it makes it very hard to distinguish. I mean, that's a principal problem here, right? You can't really tell between the little ships. Like, okay, you can see there's like the medium-sized fighters maybe, but then the workers and the small fighters and stuff like that, they all just turn into little dots, right? Which makes it a little bit harder to understand. So it would probably be better if like the bigger ships would be a little bit more distinct, right? They blend in a bit. Like when you look at the center here, these 4 big ships, they kind of blend in with the backgrounds a bit too much. But you know, that's just my personal taste. So green seems to be the team that actually loses, and yellow is kind of, I mean, not really. If you look at how big red is, but yellow actually kind of had sort of a small comeback. It might actually be able to at least clinch onto second place. Now the interesting part is that all this stuff back here, like when it comes to the combat between two factions, only the intersection line really matters, right? And as long as yellow can reinforce at a good rate here, they might actually be able to have like a stable front line here, which I find interesting. So there might be actually comeback potential, even though right now it's not looking too good, because now what's going to happen is that red is going to slowly get blue out of the way, and then everything is going to engage over here, and then it doesn't really need to happen, because right now we are clearly seeing that yellow is getting absolutely obliterated by red. And yeah, that's pretty much it, huh? Pretty cool. This is pretty cool. But it could be way more interesting. This reminds me of an old AI competition that I actually partook in. I'm not sure how it was called, but it pretty much looked similar. Let me have a quick AI compet. What was it called? Well, it was more like bot AI bots that were playing each other. But I don't know how it was actually called. Man. man, what was it called again? It had a really distinct name, this website, but I can't figure it out right now. Yeah, I can't really find it. Oh man, what was it called again? Yep. Can't really find it. Doesn't really matter. So basically how it worked was you had like this grid, and then you could program your your AI in any programming language, and you would get like input through SCDN, right? And then you would have to determine what to do, and then yeah, you would play in matches between different with you would compete with other bots, right? That other players have written, and then it was basically like a tournament, and but I have no idea what it was called. Man, that sucks. It was a really fun competition, and because it was like it didn't really matter which programming language you were doing it in, it was very accessible, right? So it was basically, you would basically write like a rule-based bot or whatever you wanted to do, and have them play against each other. They're like chess competitions that work the same way, where you can write like a chess AI and let them compete against each other. All right. Let me see. What should we do? What should we do? We should try to act like a player. So, let's see. Player component, maybe. Do we actually need more inside this? I don't think we need. Are they not using namespaces? Like, not at all, right? I mean, I don't mind. So what are we going to? So how does this actually work? We have the init something system, right? Game initialize system, and inside the game initialize system, I would assume the teams. Game initialization random seed, non-deterministic. Interesting. Set up teams, spawn neutral planets. Let's have a look. See. Entity team manager, entity team manager prefab, team config. How do we actually do it? Team configs is a list. Team manager name, team manager color, laser color, set component data, team manager entity, team manager entity, team manager entity, team manager entity. So each team has a team manager. Okay, that's confusing too. For me, like a team manager is like a manager that manages the teams, right? So it has control over all the teams. But apparently this is just team manager manages one team. Which, okay, I guess. I would have just called it team, but right, because team has a name, laser color, thruster color. This stuff is also, I don't think this has anything to do with like your team. This is just visual stuff, right? So again, it's for a sample, it's fine. But yeah. Sorry, I got sidetracked. Game utility set team. What does this do? Entity manager, set component data, new team. Set component data, apply team. Okay, a really hacky way would be to do like if team entity manager at component player do this. Something like that, maybe. I'm not sure. Let's see if it works. And see who actually is player one. I have no idea. Let's do this. Oh, and then we go here and say with midfielder player. Now we have our team manager. Okay, it's attack, so it appears up there. So we are in team B. Okay, so teams are 0 based. Okay. Yeah, team index 1. Why does factory have the player tag? And why does planet have the player tag? Oh, is this set team called? Ah, okay, it's not only, yeah, okay, this is not the right place then. Then let's go back here. I only need it on the team manager. I don't want to add it to each. I mean, we could add it to each entity. that that belongs to the player, but I don't think that is necessary. Okay, now only the team manager has the player tag. Cool. Cool. So now that we have this, yeah, I'm starting getting a little bit hungry here. Gonna have to make me some food very soon. So how are we actually going to do this? Let's start by trying to add like a UI element to the actual hut. Let's do maybe. Why is this so weirdly sized? Fit to you board. Sunshine theme. Daily 2. So what do we actually want to add? It's like a little resource display maybe. Where would we do that? Maybe like down here? What's in here? Settings button. That's this one, right? Yeah. Then we have the menu screen. Yeah, for some reason. Oh, we need to open the HUD UXML, that's why. Oh, okay. Yeah, this makes more sense. Um... Advanced, that's holdout. That's a toggle. So the actual elements that are displayed here seem to be added through code. So let's see if we can first of all close all of this. Let's see if we can find out how this works. So we have our screens, and this would be our HUD screen, right? No, not the HUD screen. Game stats. screen, which for some reason is always visible. How does that work? Let's go back to our UI screens. I mean, when I play the game, this stuff is always visible, right? So how does that actually work? Let's see. UI screens. So it all lives in the UI screens. All right. Then we have our UI manager. And probably the UI manager is that controls that. Setting screens, home screens, hot screen. And then we have our... What's it? Oh, where is it? Home stat screen. The stat screen. What we're looking for, right? Initialize. Where is it actually used? Stats underscore container. This one. That's not the one I need. This is the planet stats. I want the game stats. This one. Game stats. How does this work? Game stats. I'm so confused by this. Why? Game stats. Ah. This is its own little thing. It has its own UI document. I see. So that's why it's always there. Even though it is like a UI screen, it doesn't really get controlled by anything. But it's not a UI. This is a mono area. Okay. To make things a little bit more complicated. Advanced stats foldout, advanced stats scroll view, advanced stats template. We probably only need this. So let's go back to our UI builder. And actually, we want to Go back to heart. Create a visual element. And then we take from our project, we can go and take the advanced resources UI, maybe like this. Okay. So width, we need to set it to like a fixed width and a fixed height. Position absolute, bottom and left, right. Okay. Hi. Preview.
Step in front of a runaway train, just to feel alive again. Pushing forward through the night, aching just to blur aside.
Make it a little bigger.
It's so far away. It's so far,
250 maybe.
away. Cold wind blows into the skin. Can't believe the state you're in. It's so far away. It's so far,
I'm just confused. Why doesn't this not show up?
Who are you trying to
Even though it's inside the
creating mess?
hot screen. It should just, right?
Step in front of a runaway train, just to feel alive again.
Man, I'm getting really hungry.
Pushing forward through
I'm actually thinking I might call this stream for now. Going to make me a little lunch. Maybe take a little nap because I'm sort of tired as well. And then I'm going to be back later and continue this stuff. So yeah, make sure to follow and subscribe and like and all the thingies you're supposed to do, right? Yeah, this is just me trying to learn how this shit works. So I guess if it's not like the most exciting thing, but I feel like in the end this could become a real cool project. So yeah, this is just the beginning, and the beginning usually when you learn stuff is a little bit a little bit bumpy, but once we get going I feel like this could be pretty cool. So yeah, I'm going to call it for now. Have a good one, and maybe I'll be streaming later. Bye bye.